All right, everyone. Thank you very much for being here today for this special early session of the Global Passive House Showcase. We're super excited to have with us Ángel Sánchez and Clara Lorente from Grupo Lobe to present about their amazing work in Spain and all of the multifamily units that are being produced in Spain to the Passive House standard. So we're about to jump into the program, and so my first duty in helping to make that happen is to introduce our guest host today. We're super excited to have Anne Vogt here to introduce our speakers and to share some insights about Passive House in Spain and elsewhere. So Anne trained as an architect at the University of Arts and Applied Sciences in Hildesheim, Germany. Since 2005, she's lived and worked in Madrid. She's a Passive House certifier, Passive House designer, and a train the trainer in Passive House. She is co-founder with Nuria Diaz Anton of VAND Arquitectura and Formación Passive House, both companies in which she develops her work in the fields of energy efficiency, sustainability, and architecture design of nearly zero energy buildings, otherwise known as NZEBs, and Passive House. She has participated in programs of the European Union, including PassReg, Eurofit, and currently Outfit. And she's a founding member of Consorcio Passive House and a member of Plataforma Edificación Passive House. She also, in her spare time, teaches at 5 universities. So here's Anne to introduce our speakers and to share some thoughts.
Yes, thanks a lot for the introduction. Hello to all of you. Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Everyone is joining from other parts of the country or the world. We are in Europe. Lots of you are in the US. Thanks a lot for the invitation. It's really a pleasure to be with you here today. I'm an architect and a Passive House certifier. And my colleague Nuria and I and myself, we were struggling since 2007, 2008 to bring on a Passive House standard in Spain. So it was really hard in the beginning. I just met again Mary James after many years. She published one of our first projects in the north of Spain in the mountains, which was a really nice publishing. A nice article, and well, today I'm very excited that we will see so many projects we certified here in Spain for Grupo Lobe in 3 different locations in Madrid and Zaragoza in the north and on the coast in Valencia. And I can say that Spain is one of the regions where Passive House is really fast growing. Well, we cannot compare with China, for example, but I think in Europe and the US or Canada, I think Spain is really a region where Passive Houses are really rising. And I hope, hopefully in the future, it will be the same. So I will introduce to you the 2 speakers today. Clara Lorente Martin, she's an architect. She is specialized in energy efficiency and comfort. And she leads the team of architects within the area of energy efficiency and sustainability in Grupo Lobe. She is also a Passive House designer and a BREEAM associate, having participated in the design, construction, and Passive House certification of more than 100,000 square meters of new build, nearly zero energy building multifamily residential buildings in Spain. And Ángel Sánchez Inocencios, he is a building engineer, specialized in energy efficiency and comfort. He is part of the team of architects within the area of energy efficiency and sustainability in Grupo Lobe, being the main representative of the team in Madrid. He is also a Passive House designer, a BREEAM associate, and blower door tester, having participated in the design and construction in Passive House certification of more than 40,000 square meters of multifamily residential buildings with a Passive House certification in Spain. So I think the floor is yours.
So thank you, Anne, for your wonderful intro. I will share my my screen now in order to present the. Okay, so good afternoon. First of all, thank you for having us here today. We are Clara and Ángel, and well, we're from Spain. Anne has introduced us already. And today we will talk about several topics. First of all, we will briefly explore how Grupo Lobe works as a company. And then we will talk about how we have tackled certain challenges, achieving passive house quality in our buildings, summer performance, and user experience. And then we will also talk about a challenge that we are trying to solve right now, that is lowering our carbon footprint. Grupo Lobe is a construction company with 30 years of experience that has evolved to be more efficient. It has incorporated new professionals with various qualifications in order to aggregate all the real estate process under the same roof. We cooperate through BIM tools such as Uber, a self-developed software that allows all the agents to work on each project in a collaborative way. And from the beginning to the end, the decision-making follows different criteria: the design, commercial, energy efficiency, and so on, with a common goal of offering the best possible homes. Since 2018, Lobe builds only multifamily residential buildings that are Passive House certified. They are located in 3 regions, in Zaragoza, Madrid, and Valencia. Right now, we have 19 Passive House certified multifamily residential buildings, which make 1,200 units. We recently certified another more this Monday, so it's now more than 1,000. And 50% of that is social housing, which means that they are becoming more and more available in the Spanish market and at an affordable price. Here you can see several projects that are already certified, under construction, or being designed right now. And well, since they are multifamily residential buildings, each one has a lot of surface area. And this means that our 19 certified buildings make around of 70% of all PH certified area in Spain. Now I will talk about how we are going to achieve passive house quality. One of the first challenges we faced was the thermal enclosure progress. At the beginning, we had to increase the thickness of the insulation layer, so that meant the walls become wider. In Spain, the urban regulations limit the amount of build surface you can build in each plot of land. So that means that if your walls are really thick, you're compromising the actual size of each home. We call this surface efficiency ratio, and that means that the design is better the more usable area you have and the less gross floor area you occupy. So here we have a floor plan and a photo of the first multifamily residential that we built, passive house, and as you can see, the walls were really thick in comparison to the division between rooms. This is the section. The first one was the section of that building. As you can see, it was pretty thick. It was like 45 centimeters thick. Basically, it was the result of adding 12 centimeters of insulation on a masonry wall that like traditional one. And since then, we have been developing different wall sections in order to achieve the same hydrothermal performance in a more spatially efficient way. Now, Ángel.
Hi, everybody. I'm talking to you about our progress in air tightness. On the left, we have a typical detail section of one of our buildings with thermographic diagrams for each thermal bridge. And on the right, you see 3 details about air tightness solution. In fact, all of them are following the same principles. We solve vertical air tightness in red with prefabricated insulation panels, while horizontal air tightness is solved taking advantage of the concrete structure in blue. So this way we create an individual enclosure for every apartment, which is very useful for us because we have an individual mechanical ventilation with heat recovery. At the very beginning, we used to seal every joint with liquid membrane. vertical joints between panels, structure installations, and so on, while windows were sealed with pre-compressed tape and foam. I'd love to show you a very interesting detail on the top right picture. We plan all installation pierces and prepare blocks of insulation with holes in them so we can seal every pipe one by one. After many projects, we decided to improve our solution, making it easier, cleaner, and faster. And I honestly think it was a great idea. Now we seal everything with airtightness tapes, except installation and other system pierces, while we seal windows only with pre-compressed tape with vapor barrier layers. And it was worth it. In my opinion, it's working quite well. On the right bottom picture, we have a typical apartment with 0.15 renovations per hour. All this progress means to get better in terms of quality, but also to get faster testing. By this, we can fit into production schedule, not delaying critical tasks. We have our own blower door equipment, 5 in total, and we test every apartment individually, at least 2 times. First test ensures the airtightness is okay. This way we can figure out possible mistakes or missing points, and we can ensure that passive house standards will be met. And then we do another final test with an external observer as an auditor, and in order to guarantee our clients the fairness of results. In columns and on the left, we have hours spent per apartment, while the line expresses final blower door value for each project. These are the projects located in Madrid. This means that we have been reducing our testing while we got better results. You can make an idea about the significance of spending half of the time that we spent 2 years ago. It's also remarkable that we came from 0.6 renovations per hour to 0.35 we are now. And just to give you a brief comment about how we try to improve building processes, I think you would like to know Lobe's workflow. At the same time, we designed the building and its production process in a lean project delivery system. We work together, divided in groups, into the same BIM model. Lobe has created his own software based in a construction 4.0 philosophy, called it Hube. Images at right are captures made for every month that shows the progress on construction site. Site managers have follow-up meetings weekly, where they can discuss their projects while they are seeing the real thing, the real building. By the way, we have cameras installed in every building, so it's just like a construction Big Brother.
Here in this slide, we can see like the result of all this process. We built a symmetric building a few years ago. The first phase met the national building code, and the other phase was passive house. Each phase has 63 units. In terms of materials and components, going for passive house meant an increase of 3,000 euro per unit. But improving construction services and using industrialized solutions meant that we managed to reduce around 1,000 euro per unit in terms of construction services. That way, the total construction increase cost in the second phase, in the passive house ones, was only 2% more. And now I will talk about another challenge, summer performance. In Zaragoza and Madrid and Valencia, we have climates like are similar to California. So cooling is our main energy demand. Here we have an example of an energy consumption of an apartment during 2021 that we are currently monitoring. As you can see, they have only consumed domestic hot water that is pictured in orange, and cooling that is pictured in blue. The apartment is in Zaragoza and has good orientation, and it's run by neighbors. And here you can see where it's located for you to picture better the location. This example does not mean that we never have heating demand, but I think it shows how more or less it works. So shading, it's really important. So we need to think about overhangs, terraces, and Rollup lines to essentially avoid overheating. We have developed some details in order to limit the thermal bridges that appear when building terraces. Here you can see how we include high resistant elements embedded in the floor slabs. The blocks are located around the perimeter of the thermal enclosure in each home. Our goal is that terraces keep shaded the facade walls during the hottest times of the year. This is a picture of Arcus, a whole block with 171 units that we have recently certified in Zaragoza. The photo was taken of June 2021, and all the walls, the facades were shaded at the moment, at the midday. Shading also reduces a lot the amount of solar radiation that is absorbed by the walls, and therefore means that there can be like 50% less cooling demand as a result. Exterior shading of the windows is also important to limit solar gains in the hot months, but the fact that could be removed is useful in winter to reduce heating demand. So in Spain, Rollup lines are common. They provide not only light control, but also safety and privacy. However, traditional Rollup lines have two handicaps. They are a huge thermal bridge and they are not airtight. So we've been working with various local manufacturers in order to improve the products that were available in Spanish market. And we have redesigned insulation and joints in order to make them airtight and reduce thermal bridges. Here you can see a data sheet and a lab essay of one of the models we have co-designed with one manufacturer. This kind of Rollup lines come as a block with the rest of the window, so they are easy to install, and they come with like a half moon of insulation inside the PVC box. Finally, we can see an example of thermal bridge caused by the Rollup line. As you can see, there's still some heat loss through them, but shading is much more important in our climate. To end, I'm sure you can imagine that more than 1,000 units mean that more than 1,000 different families are already living in our buildings. So this has been a challenge in terms of finding a way to easily explain how everything works, provide a support service whenever they need it, and make sure everyone thinks living in a passive house home is something new, but not necessarily something difficult. So here you can see some info and documents that we have developed. And we find really useful an easy maintenance manual and videos that we produce for each building and where everything is explained.
Well, and last but not least at all, one of the challenges we are facing now is how to reduce our carbon footprint. We are following European regulation to quantify it, and we are carrying out a real building evaluation to compare the results to different improvement scenarios. In first case, in blue, we adjust the building to compulsory energy efficiency regulations, just changing the thermal enclosure. And in the other case, in orange, we propose a cross-laminated timber structure instead of the reinforced concrete we have. We generate list of elements through as-built Hube project and our energy simulations and associate their impacts from reliable databases. Since we know our carbon footprint or global warming potential per systems, we can compare different alternatives. Comparing with regular buildings, let us know how much contribute industrialization and passive house, while we can study new opportunities and scope of improvement with new solutions. I think that's all. Thank you for your attention. Thanks to this wonderful platform for having us here today. And I hope you find it interesting.
Sorry, I'm a little bit behind the game here.
No
Bring
worries.
it up. All right. Yeah, thank you very much. This is a really great presentation. I can't wait for the discussion here. So everything we do at the Accelerator comes thanks to support from these fine organizations. So I want to give a big shout out to our founding sponsors, 475 High Performance Building Supply, Baxtingui Architects, Glavel Foam Glass Gravel, Miniter All-in-One HVAC and Dehumidification Units, Mitsubishi Electric Train HVAC US, Partel, RDH Building Science, Rockwool North America, Stocorp, and Zola Windows. Our champion sponsors are Icon Windows and Doors and SIGA, and our stakeholder partner is NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. Thanks too to our patron sponsors, Aero Aggregates, Aero Barrier, BR+A Consulting Engineers, Brennan Air Tightness and Insulation, Euroline Windows, Inotech Windows and Doors, Lamalex, Sanderson Sustainable Design, and US Engineered Wood T-Stud. So thank you, sponsors.
Thanks, Zach. And everyone, Zach will be throwing up a survey in a few minutes. Please fill that out if you can. It's always great to get the information back so we can adjust our programming to your wishes. So please answer that when it comes up. But let's dive into questions. And I'm actually going to go first because I heard mentions of prefab panels. And that's kind of my shtick. I love the prefab stuff. So can you talk about that in how that's implemented in the construction?
Yeah, I think that's a question more for me, maybe. That is a work that we made with, as I told you, it's in a BIM project. We just put the industrialized materials and industrialized pieces and everything. And this kind of material have all the performance that you need, so fire resistant, insulation, against everything you need. We put it into layers and we prefabricate it, and just in on site we just put it in the wall, and that's it. That's all. Then we seal it, and that's the air tightness barrier that we have. So it's a very, you have to plan a lot. You have to make some efforts in everything is okay, it's in the same measures. But it's a good work when everything it comes to the same measures and everything works.
And so are those, yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Clara.
Yeah, I wanted to add that the planning of the homes are like all are like the same floor plan and have the same windows, and we make a lot of effort for each homes to be similar to each other, and that way the amount of different panels are like the lowest possible. So it is really nice how when you go to the construction site, you can see like all the panels in a palette, you know, yeah. And it's written like this is for the unit in the fourth floor and in this part of the building, and then they unwrap it and they put it in the walls, and everything it's like a puzzle, you know. Yeah. So this has been really an update since the beginning, and well, yeah, I think you saw in the wall process how our facades were evolving from the beginning to now.
Yeah, that's super impressive, the evolution of your walls. You guys are trying to fine tune from a cost standpoint, but we kind of always talk about people are looking for the thinnest wall, highest R value, cheapest cost, and if you care about the planet, looking at the carbon footprint of the panel. So it's neat to see the evolution of your systems. That's great. Appreciate that insight. And just another clarifying question too is the shades installed on the edge of the balconies or against the glass?
Do you say the Rollup Lines?
Yeah.
They're installed just by the glass, okay. But a little bit like 10 centimeters. Yeah. Because the window people here in Spain like to open the windows completely, like 180 degrees, you know, and if you put the window in the middle of the wall, they can only open like 90 degrees. So one of the improvements in the design was to find a way to put the window in the interior part of the home.
Got it. Makes sense. No, great stuff. I see Morton's got a question, so we'll go to Morton next in Boston. Morton, do you want to jump on and ask your question? Or do you want me to ask it for you? Go for it.
Ask it. I'm not in a private area.
No worries. Okay. Morton said, what CAD or BIM program do you guys use? I think you meant CAD. What CAD program or BIM do you guys use?
Yeah, we use Revit and our self-developed program that it's called Hube. It uses Navisworks.
Yeah.
I don't know if
it runs with Navisworks, but it's like an external application that takes all the information from the model.
And then just to expand that too, is like the prefab walls, are those made by you guys, or is that made by another local company? And again, are they taking the model and then turning it into, you know, CAD files to operate machines to make? How is that?
Yeah. We closely work with the manufacturer of these panels, but we demand the performance that we need for each building. So there's a journey of collaboration and specifications and improvements that reduce, as Clara said, spaces and improve performance and everything.
There's a question from Houston. Can you guys put up that slide that shows your multifamily buildings? I know I think it's maybe the third or fourth slide that you brought up, and I mean I tried to do a screens save it too. So it's just super impressive. Just
like the one with all the buildings. You say? Okay.
If you don't mind going through it, because again, it's like just to go through that stat: 19 buildings, over 1,200 Pasos buildings, 50% social housing. I mean, that's just mind-boggling. I mean, just such a great feat by your company. And again, the stat that you guys said, it was 70 or 73% of the passive home or passive buildings in Spain have been done by you, which is just amazing. Because when was the first one completed, I guess? How long have you guys been at this?
Yeah, the first one was, do you see my screen?
Oh, no, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, wait.
I was, I think sorry. No?
And yeah, there we go.
Okay.
And Houston, did you have a specific question on this? Or you just wanted to see it again, just the amazing details and designs? And
well, I think I'm just like you. I wanted to see, it's incredible how many they've done. But I have a separate question, which is, how is this thing heated and cooled and ventilated?
Yeah.
Great question.
So you're right. We haven't got a slide about that. I'm just gonna check if you can see it in some of these slides.
Maybe in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you see here, we have a heat pump, air to water. So heating and cooling is produced both by this heat pump, and the water goes through a radiant floor. So the radiant floor works for heating and cooling in Madrid and Zaragoza, because the summer are really dry and we don't have any problems with humidity or surface condensation on the cooling floor. And in Valencia, we use a heat pump, but air to air, and we mainly do cooling by air. And the ventilation unit is here. As you can see, it's individual. We have one in each apartment, and it's like a star system. So well, you can't see it here, but we have different valves in it, and it's well. Here you can see it, and this is one of the terraces, and this is the heat recovery ventilation and the heat pump. I don't know if it's okay.
No, that's great. I mean, I can see it. Houston, are you happy with that answer? Again, it's the manual again is a level of top notch of just what you're trying to do for the clients and making sure that they've bought into the system and they can understand it. And again, great infographic for your clients. Houston's happy. That's good. Okay, so now we can move over. Now we've got a few questions in the queue here, so I'll put that in a second. But Vlad, you had a question, so Vlad, hop on, please.
Yes, thank you. Wonderful presentation and great work you guys are doing. I was wondering a little bit about the balconies. I think I've seen that they're thermally broken from the rest of the structure. Can you maybe say a little bit about that and technology you're using there?
Yeah, I'm gonna share it again.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple. In Spain, we're used to floor slabs of concrete. I'm sorry, where is it? Here. So they are concrete floor slabs. So they have concrete parts and also some parts that are only for making the structure lighter. So we put insulation blocks there instead of one of the concrete parts that are for making it lighter. I don't know how to say it in English. I'm sorry. I don't know if you understand, but
seems like they're the panels. Some of them are solid concrete, some of them are with insulation in them, right?
Yeah, this is the floor just before the concrete is poured in.
I see.
So these parts, these gray parts, are not working on the structure. Only the parts that there's void in it.
I see. Gotcha.
So we substitute.
Sí, lo que quiere decir es que no sabemos traducir bovedilla, pero bueno, serían partes de aligerar la estructura realmente, ¿no?
There was a question in Spanish, I guess, for
Ángel.
Thank you for doing that. That was awesome.
Yeah. And then the balconies are also separated with something like, isocorb or some technology like that, or no?
No. We have studied isocorb a lot of times, but it's really expensive. So we try to solve it through these alternative paths. For example, here you can see we have a beam that crosses it, and this is a really bad thermal bridge.
Right.
But we have to count it in the calculations, and we put it in the PHPP, and that's all.
Okay, just a little penalty there. Maybe to connect with Sean's question, I thought I saw some balcony shades as well. Is that also something you use, external at the edge of the balcony? I think I saw in some of the buildings.
I think it's more like a cupboard. I think you refer to where they have the installation.
Okay, maybe I didn't see correctly, but I thought that was at the railing of the balcony to the top edge of the balcony. Sometimes, there are some external shades.
No.
No, I think it's at the end of the terraces. There is like a cupboard, which can be closed, so you don't see the heat pump and the external unit. I think he's referring to this.
Do you think this part?
It's just a close.
Yeah, this is one thing that is really common in Spain, and it's put in all the buildings in order to for people, they can hang to air dry the clothes, you know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because yeah, this is for that.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great space. I mean, it's just great how you guys. I mean, we talk about the Pascal's principles. You know, always talk about high performance glazing, and then I was like in brackets exterior shading, because we haven't quite incorporated that in North America here, and you've done a great job at describing that today. And I appreciate you guys working with the exterior shading company to work on, you know, adding that extra layer of insulation. So again, you guys are really diving into the details, and again, the fact your PHVP models are probably down to, you know, the micromillimeters. And you guys have found, you know, really good details with those thermal breaks and finding solutions. So it's just fantastic. Got a couple more questions. Over to Mary James.
I had a number of questions about the windows. So first of all, it sounded like the windows open out. They're not in swing, they're out swing.
No, they are in the interior part of the wall. I don't know if they don't open for the exterior, but on the interior of the rooms.
Okay.
But they can open like completely 180 degrees.
Okay. But I'm also curious. I know, you know, probably when I interviewed Anne a long time ago, it was difficult to find passive house quality windows in Spain. Has that changed a lot, or do you always use the same manufacturer? And then also I wanted to know, are they double pane or triple pane windows that you use? And, you know, if so, which cities use double, which ones use triple?
So this has dramatically changed in the last few years. When we began, there was like a few companies that had passive house quality windows, but in the late
Wait, we lost you for a little bit. What?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You
Well,
were saying in the last 10 years, we had a number of quality or passive house quality windows, so we can choose which one we want to install.
Yeah, now we can choose. We worked with I think 3 or 4 different manufacturers that have really similar windows.
Great.
And for the glazing, we use a double pane glazing in Valencia in the coast, and triple glaze in Madrid and Zaragoza.
Great, thanks.
Well, and I guess it's a great questions, Mary. And I mean, when you guys are doing the scale you're doing, you're really able to drive the market. So I'm sure, you know, you guys probably push the window manufacturers, say, hey, like, we're doing passive houses. We got an order of 200. You want to change? And glad that they were able to do that. I mean, I know here in Vancouver, it's nice to have the market change as we're going through it. So good on you guys for pushing the community to get up to your scale.
Right. Just going on that point, roller blinds. I mean, they're so, nobody does them because they're so expensive still here. And do you use one company for the roller blinds, or are there now multiple companies that make the better insulated roller blinds that you use?
This was really a process. At the beginning, nobody did at the moment, like in 2018. But you know, as our buildings are really commercial buildings, people, normal people, like not people that want a passive house and hire an architect to do it. We have customers that don't know what is passive house, so they don't understand a building without roller blinds in our region. So it was like mandatory to find some kind of roller blind that we could put in our building. So we began importing one roller blind from Germany, but it has the problem that the window had to be in a certain point in the box, you know. So we couldn't do like the thing to put the window in the interior part of the wall. So and talking with a lot of different manufacturers, and now I think we have like 4 different Rollup Lines that we can choose to put in the buildings. But I don't know. I think we have almost designed each of the Rollup Lines, because normally when a manufacturer come and see us for the first time, they don't have an available Rollup Line that works. So normally we help them and try and find a way to adapt the Rollup Line they have to Passive House standard.
Great stuff, Clara. Thanks for clarifying that. We have Gerald has a question. Just double check that Gerald's still with us. His question was, if people like to open the windows, how do you keep the home temperature constant, keeping the energy demand low? So again, this is more maybe a training question for the clients to understand how to use their passive house.
Yes, Ángel, do you want to answer some questions?
It's okay for me. I think you have to balance the passive house performance and specification with people who like to open the window and come out inside from your big terrace, big balcony. So if you want to enjoy, it's okay for you. But we make these manuals, and we tell to the clients the things that they should do, but they're free. They just want to feel free to do whatever they want. So this is an option we give to our clients, and it's okay. I don't think that if there are -4 degrees outside, you're going to open the windows. This is not possible. You are going to do these things. Well, the climate is okay, the weather is good, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter.
And again, because you guys are doing so much social housing, I guess that's why the importance of training is such a big requirement to ensure the people that are taking on the space. But do you find a difference in how people use your units between the non-social housing and the social housing ones? Is there an issue in training or how they're being used, or performance or demand?
No, we haven't really found a difference.
And are you doing more monitor? Like, I know you showed the one data on that one unit, but are you getting more data from again the 2 different types of buildings you guys are building?
Yeah, well, we are currently working on that, because it's not that easy to actually make monitoring of the homes that are being used, because you have to work with them, and and the data they have to agree, you know. And now we have only two units that are being monitored right now, but we definitely are working on monitoring more.
Great. We had a question from Alex. I think he's left us. So Alex's question was, looks like the walls were sprayed with a spray applied version rather than the fiber reinforced brush. Is that something that you guys are getting locally? Is that something in Spain, or what? Or you could just express what product that was?
You say the membrane, like the airtight membrane?
Yeah, sorry. On the interior side, there was that black product. You just want to clarify what that was, and
yeah, that we use on a spray membrane from I remember that was Viscon from Aerosana, from Proclima.
Yeah,
I think you know it.
Okay.
And
it's Proclima. Yeah. And there's also
in some places we used we put the reinforced with fiber membrane.
Yeah.
And I think in Madrid we only put this membrane from Proclima. So it change. It depends from the people who does the work.
Fantastic. Okay, great. Zach, we're a couple minutes early here, but why don't we head over to updates, and then we'll turn over to Ann, and then we'll keep going with questions. Still got about 3 in the hopper, so don't go anywhere, anyone.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Thank you. So a couple of announcements of things coming up, and also what's going on with the podcast. So the current episode of the Passive House podcast is an interview by Matthew Cutler Welsh of John Tallis and Julia Thomas of Australia-based Our Fab House. So John and Julia are doing prefab passive house in Australia, single family projects. So they talk about the process. These are prefab elements that are constructed in Europe and shipped by ship to Australia. So they talk about some of the interesting challenges around that, and the work of delivering low embodied carbon passive house in Australia. Great interview. Please check that out. We also have a bunch of shorter interviews being published each day from the FIASCon 2021 conference in Tarrytown, New York last month. And the most recent is a interview that I conducted with Karan Gupta of New Fire Building. So anyway, these are more like 10 to 15 minute long interviews of different passive house leaders and practitioners in North America. Then tomorrow we have our episode 2 of our special mini series based in the UK and Ireland, the Building Performance Interactive. And this episode 2 will feature Lawrence Taylor of KTF Timber Frame, an Irish-based timber frame prefab company, and the episode is about modern methods of construction, offsite timber frame construction from start to finish. So it will be a show that runs at 2 p.m. GMT, so 2 p.m. in Ireland and in the UK, at 9 a.m. Eastern. And I'll include a link to register for that show tomorrow, but we hope that you'll join us. It's going to be great. And then so next week is Thanksgiving in the US. We're going to take Tuesday and Wednesday off from Construction Tech and Showcase. But we do have one event that we're running next week. We're really excited about it. This is a component spotlight with Partel. So Partel will be presenting its new advanced self-adhesive membrane for weather-tight buildings. As all component spotlights do, we'll be diving into the building science behind the product and giving you a chance to interact with Partel, with Hugh Wieruski specifically, to ask questions and learn more about the application of this new product. So I think that's it. Thanks.
Great, everybody. So again, next week we're off. So if you're carving a turkey or you're putting up Christmas lights or doing whatever, put your earpods in and listen to those great Passive House podcasts that are put on by Zach and Matthew. And it's always nice to have Mary and Ilka connecting there too. So great stuff that the Accelerator puts out. We'll take a couple more questions and then we'll wrap things up. So Patricia wanted to just see the wall structure slide again. So Clara, if you could put that up. I think she's looking at the evolution of your wall design, and I guess just to kind of highlight that, I know Patricia doesn't have audio, but
yeah.
Like, are you finally happy with the last wall? Is that like that's the one that's going to be the one you roll out for the next few, or are there still tweaks to that particular one?
I think this never ends. I think this never ends. But yeah, this is like the last one. And
can you just clarify?
We will see.
Can you clarify the buildup?
Yeah. So this is we have like the main part, and then the gypsum board and rock wool.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like the panel Ángel was talking about. This comes as a whole, and it's made of a lot of different layers. Okay, and then we have like I don't know how to say it, like
it's porcelainic finishing, I think.
Yeah, it's like tiles,
Yep.
like tiles. Yeah, but they are not. They have not concrete between them, so the wall can breathe, like the vapor.
Yeah, it can dry in both directions.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Again, I mean, it's just great to see again. You start from, you've shrunk the wall in that 8 different systems. So that's
So you can see here. Yeah, the beginning was like all masonry, and like both the interior part and the exterior part. A few ventilated facade, then a layer of insulation between them, and then some changes. This is like gypsum board solutions that on the main part, and then we have a few versions of the panels. So well, this has been our journey, and I think this will keep evolving, I think.
Oh, it's great stuff. Anne, I apologize that we were supposed to get to you next to get some closing remarks. So Anne, over to you.
Yes, thanks a lot, Ángel and Clara, for the presentation, for answering all these questions. Just a short story about the Rollup Lines. It's very common that because we have now in Spain like 30 or 40 windows which are Passive certified, and already 2 Rollup Lines which are certified as a Passive component for the warm temperate climate we have here. But you not only need the component, you need to use it, to know how to use it too. Because sometimes we have projects where they use the same Rollup Lines or the same windows Grupo Lobe uses, but they don't use them right, because you have to connect the insulation of the Rollup Line with the window. If you disconnect them and you put them where you always do with a compact Rollup Line component with the window, so you have a big problem of humidity in the middle. So sometimes we have the case that architects with some experience in passive houses and carpenters, which already worked for Grupo Lobe, they think they're doing the same, but they don't understand what they are doing. So sometimes this is really interesting. And I just wanted to say that they are not only pushing for the producers of the components, but they are pushing also construction companies, because Grupo Lobe offers lots of passive houses in 3 different cities of Spain. So all the companies which are offering the same, where they have to offer something similar. So sometimes we have the problem that they offer something similar, only something similar, they don't certify. They say they are designing with Passive House standard, but they don't certify. So they don't really do passive houses. So, but it's a very interesting in these local markets, of Zaragoza and Valencia and Madrid, that construction companies which don't really want to do passive houses, they are forced to do it, because Grupo Lobe is pushing a lot on the local market. So thanks for that, because I think it's a very good job. And you're not only helping the families, or 1,220 families which are now living in certified passive house buildings, but a lot more families or companies or construction companies. And I don't know if you know it, but Europe, I think, will have some problems this winter with warming. Electricity in Spain is rising a lot, really a lot. In the last month, it was a big problem for lots of people which are living in fuel poverty, or didn't live in fuel poverty, but now will live in fuel poverty. So social housing, do 50% of the buildings as a social housing. It's really a great job, because these people, although they live in fuel poverty, they will be warm, they will be okay. They won't suffer as do other families in a normal house, because Spain if you think in Spain, perhaps you are thinking of a very warm climate of California on the coast. But we have in central Spain, it's very cold too. We have -15 degrees sometimes too. So it's really, climate is changing, and the winters will be colder and summers are hotter. So I don't have to add anything else. Thanks a lot for the work you're doing and for inviting us today and for pushing in the same direction.
Great, thanks, Anne. I think, why don't we everyone unmute and give them a round of applause? They deserve it.
Yes, thank you.
I'm
Excellent.
sitting in a passive house renovation too. Our office is a passive house renovation. I think Christian told he is in a passive house too, and you just have to live it. No, I think the most important thing of passive houses is, because all the people, all the architects or engineers or construction companies, we know passive house because it's so surprising, no? That you can need so little energy for in winter and summer. But the most important thing is the comfort our users have in the passive houses.
Yeah, it's great stuff. No, that's an interesting segue. I'll come to that. So everyone, that does wrap up the first hour of the Global Passive House Showcase. We still have about 4 or 5 more questions in the queue. So we're going to keep this amazing team from Grupo Lobe here. And it's just amazing what you've done. And I agree with you, Anne, that you've transitioned the marketplace and your competitors are trying to do what you do. And I mean, they'll learn and they'll get to what you're doing. But again, thank you for not only providing those 19 buildings, over 1,200 units to those families, but also just keep pushing that answer. I think that's just fantastic. So if you do need to leave, we understand you've got other things to do. It might be lunchtime or mid-afternoon, early happy hour. So you do go do what you got to do. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Next week, though, we've got the Monday event. And as Zach said, tomorrow on the Pacific Standard Time at 6 a.m. Grab your cup of coffee, and we will go across the pond again for some great passive house education. So if you did need to leave, goodbye, good day, and we'll keep continuing otherwise. So that brings me an interesting point, Anne, about something we're launching in the new year. It's called Experience Passive House Experience. And the idea is to create an exhibit where we can showcase the benefits of passive house. So what we'd like you to do right now until the new year is figure out who you'd like to team up with. And your team should consist of a passive house consultant, an architect or engineer, a builder, contractor, tradesperson, 1 student, and 1 supplier or manufacturer. And the idea again is that we're going to look at designing an exhibit to showcase the passive house principles, and we'll be providing you with more details come the new year. It'll provide you an opportunity to get some accolades from the community. Winners will be published in the Accelerator. And as we heard last night, there'll be some cash prizes. So thanks to Passive Purple who made some notes, and then a few other colleagues last night on the Passive House Construction Tech, because it was our 1st anniversary and we needed to kick off something, so we gave that announcement. So we'll be providing more information with that as the weeks come, as we turn the calendar from 2021 to 22. Crazy how the last 20 months have gone. We welcome and thank you guys so much for joining us every week. And back to answering some more questions. So the next in the queue was Jean. Jean, you had a couple. We'll turn it over to you.
Well, I had a question about the Rollup Lines. Are they injected with foam to insulate each individual section? And they can't be made airtight, can they? There are a lot of joints.
Yeah, the Rollup Lines brings a special insulation called EPS. I think you call it the same. So it's a special EPS that you can design and fabric with like the block of insulation we made with all the piping. So it's just the same. You made the form that you need exactly for your Rollup line. So this is the material. And I guess they are not as airtightness as not having a roller line. So we are assuming some infiltrations and some air used to put the Rollup Lines. So we have to make all the enclosure very, very tight just to assume the Rollup Lines.
Not the blinds are filled with insulation, but the box where they are stored.
Oh, the individual slats are not insulated.
No.
No. And do people
I think
close the blind? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Each part of the roll blind is insulated, but you know, this is not touching the window, so it really does nothing to the, well, it protects the window when it's closed, but we are not counting on that.
Are people using the blind on a very hot sunny day to block the sun but still have a little air infiltration? How do they use it?
I think in Spain we are the result very familiar for us to use Rollup Lines. All houses have Rollup Lines. So we know in summer when I go to work, I just put down all the Rollup Line because I know the sun will will enter in my house. So when I come back, I can just check if the sun is still in my window, and if it's not, I can just put out the Rollup Line. So I think in Spain we are very used to this operation.
In the US, almost no one has exterior roller blinds. The best we can do is pleated shades, maybe, or some type of shade on the interior. But of course, the heat has already gotten through the glass by then.
Yeah, that's it, Gene. Again, we take things from Europe. We don't know what to do, and we just pretend we do. And all of a sudden, next, we've got blinds in the interior, and they're commonplace. And so the question is like, when will we make the switch to the outside? Again, you Europeans are so far advanced, I tell you.
But I think it's something from the Mediterranean countries. I think in Spain, in the south of France, and I think also in Germany, I have seen them, and in Italy a lot. This is really common.
Do they have that feature where if you lower them all the way, they completely block the sun? But if you put a little tension on the chain and lift them up, you get slots that open up and you can kind of see through it and get air through it?
Yeah, they have that.
Yeah, and we take it into account in PHPP. So we don't put the Rollup Line completely blocking the sun. We leave just some sun entering into the house.
Yeah, for daylight. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen one more time because I think.
Forgive me, but they are so uncommon here that there's a lot to learn about them.
Yeah. You can see here a photo in the bottom on the right, and they have like little holes, and when it's completely closed, the holes. I don't know how to say it. You can see the holes, and then if you open it a little bit, the light goes through them. So.
Yeah, I have seen that in Germany. Did you say that the roller blinds are integrated with the window?
Yeah, you can see it here. The window comes already with a roller blind installed.
So
that is advanced.
We choose the position, so the thermal bridge is okay, is controlled, but it comes with a normal block, like a normal window. Yeah, that's the detail.
Yes, as you can see here, this is what Anne was saying.
Okay.
You have to put the window on the insulation, because otherwise you have like here a huge thermal bridge, and you can even have condensation. So,
Yeah.
well,
So you don't want to create a thermal bridge at the the box of the roll-up line. That's why
yeah,
that box is insulated. Yeah.
yeah. So, but this is still, this is a thermal bridge. You know, it's
Yeah.
not perfect, but I don't know. Like the advantages are better than the disadvantages.
Yeah, and I
Okay,
guess
I understand it better now.
that's why the box needs to be airtight, because it's part of the air, air barrier process.
And it's part of the window. That's really
yeah,
advanced.
I mean, a lot of times we've
Yeah.
seen it where the blinds are installed in front of the window, so you'd have the top frame that's insulated to help out with that thermal bridge detail. But again, it's a very cool detail that we all need to kind of chew on and be like, how do we get that in North America? So everyone, talk to your local blind supplier and see if they are interested in going exterior, because there's definitely a market in what we're doing. So very
Think
cool
about
stuff.
hurricane resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a really we have a really windy climate here, and this is really taken into account.
Yeah, very cool. Jean, did we get all your questions? I know you had a couple there.
Thank you. That was covered everything.
Perfect.
I had a question about the mechanical system, but where it was located, but as part of the apartment. I think it's great that you have that area with an outside blind so that you can hang your laundry and not have it visible.
And then again, get the heat that's coming off
the
your heat pump to
condenser
help dry it
dries
off,
the
like,
laundry. That's wonderful.
it's like,
Yeah.
okay, how functional can we be in this whole thing? We'll just go down to the details. Like, we know people want to dry and have less, less energy from the dryer, so we'll just create this dryer on the outside. Brilliant. Just so many brilliant points you guys have discussed tonight.
What works here is if you have a basement and a heat pump, water heater, and laundry lines next to it, the airflow around them will help the clothes dry quicker.
This in Spain is mandatory. All the building by urban regulation has to think about this.
Yeah, just brilliant. So Houston had another question. He left us, but his question was, does your company have in-house MEP engineers, and are they also Passive House certified? So again, MEP is mechanical, electrical, plumbing.
And for example, in Madrid, we have a really, really good professionals in MEP, but they are not necessarily being certified as passive house designer. They just have a white book. A book with the things they have to take into account, and we only just take control into the project and make some advices, and that's okay. That works very, very well.
Excellent. Yeah. Again, the team and consultants, I mean, you definitely probably created quite a family in the design process. And so, in that, are you guys using integrated design planning process? Or is it still like, how efficient is that consulting team?
Yeah, so as you could see in the first slide when I talked about Grupo Lobe, that is the idea of the organization of the company. So we have in the same company, we have like the architects and the construction company and the commercial part and so on. So the main idea is this, working through a BIM model, and everyone works on that model, and well, everything is taken into account from the beginning to the end. And Ángel and I are just a part of that team that is really big.
And I apologize if you said at the beginning, but how many people work at the company?
I think we are around, the whole company is more or less 120.
Yeah,
I think more or less
100 and something. Yeah.
Well, make sure again you give them all praise, and I mean, especially for you two coming on to showcase what the team is doing. But it's brilliant, and so thank you to everyone that pushing Passive House in Spain. It's great.
in our team, like in our closed team, like energy efficiency, we are 7 people, like only doing this. So.
Well, virtual high fives to all those 7 people. So we have Zach in Seattle has a couple of questions. Zach, over to you.
I do. I want to just focus on one, and that's the social housing piece. I noted that 50% of the projects are social housing, and we in North America are also seeing social housing and affordable housing being a leader in passive house construction. So I was curious to hear why it is that you think social housing is playing that leadership role in passive house. What are the reasons that you see that rapid uptake among social housing providers?
Anne, do you want to talk about this? Because maybe you can give a wider impression about all of Spain. In our case, all of the projects that have been contest, like with the local administrations, were won because of the offering passive house. You know, like the local administration is really taking this into account when looking for contractors that want to build passive, well, not passive house, but social housing. So it for us it has been like a really potent a way to win this kind of contests. And I think the local administration is really interested in this because of the well, the energy poverty that can happen in the people that can go into the social housing. But also in Spain, the kind of social housing we are talking about is like limited price, you know. Mostly young people go to live there, and it's like necessarily is people that don't have a lot of income and don't have another house in property. You know, it's like limited selling price. And well, I think the people that lives in our social housing is maybe is not what you're imagining. You know, it's like,
yeah, that's a good point.
Yes, I think there are two different types of social housing. We have in Spain social housing to buy. So a young family with low income can buy an affordable house. There are different types of affordable housings too. And the other one is to rent social housing. So from a private company like Grupo Lobe, if you want to build a new project, you first have to buy the ground, and there's not so much ground available. So there are often these type of contests that the local government chooses the best offer to buy this ground, this plot. So and for the local governments, if the local government wants to do social housings, they usually wants to do it to rent. So it's a very low rent normally, and there we have many local authorities in the north who have big problems in the winter with the houses they rent, because if people live in fuel poverty, they will have humidity in winter, they will have mold. And so in several years, they have to renovate again these flats. So that's why local authorities do passive houses to rent, because this problem disappears.
Wow, that's really interesting. Really interesting. Thank you.
Just fascinating. What a, just again, great presentation. Clara, I just got one last question. When you're talking about the units and how they're all the same, I know the first picture, I think it showed 3 bedrooms. Is it typical, like what's the typical building that you guys copy and paste? Is it a 2 bedroom, a 1 bedroom? Is it like a mix of 80% 2 bedroom, and how do you guys look at things?
Yeah, well, this kind of different kind of apartments is defined by the commercial part of the company. So
Okay.
at the beginning, when they are thinking about the design, they make like a commercial survey in order to know this. But the typical, I will say, it's a 3 bedroom with this kind of plan that I was showing. The first one, it was one of our high-end buildings. So it was really big. The normal ones are not that big.
Yeah, I know in Vancouver, the 3 bedroom is always pushed on by the city because a lot of families need the 3 bedrooms, and a lot of the developers always just want to build 1 or 2 bedrooms because that just makes it easy for them for construction wise, but families need the 3 bedroom. So great to see that in your guys' location. I think that is it for the questions. Thank you so very much for staying on later. This was fantastic. And of course, that's for the PH. Thank you so much for what you guys are doing. It's very exciting. A little speechless because it's just what great work that you're all doing. So I think we can let you guys go and enjoy your evening. Zach, any other comments or final words before
I don't think so. It's just, it was just fabulous.
I just wanted to ask Anne if maybe she could give us just a little bit more of a sense of how Passive House is spreading in Spain, because I know you've been very involved with the, it's called PEP, I think is the organization. And just, outside of Grupo Lobe, is it universally in all regions of Spain that Passive House is spreading, or is it still in certain geographic regions that it's more trending, and just a little bit of a sense of that? And also, I know you guys put on a conference, and I'm just curious, how has the attendance at that conference, obviously except for last year, but has the attendance been growing every year, or is it kind of stabilized at a certain attendance? I'm just curious.
Well, in the Passive House movement in Spain is not generalized. It's more in the north. It's I think it's most in Zaragoza and in Pamplona. In Zaragoza due to Grupo Lobe, and in Pamplona, which is a city in the north of Spain, more in the western part. I think it's because of a local authority, which is pushing a lot passive houses to rent. So they want to build like 1,700 buildings. But we certified the first building for them some years ago, and Wolfgang Feist came to the inauguration. But then they had some bad experiences too, because they cannot always work with the same construction companies. They have to do a contest, and they have to choose the cheapest or the best one. Well, normally the cheapest. So they had a bad experience. And one of the companies, they built a building which they wanted to certify, and it didn't fulfill the blower door tests. So well, there is a movement, but it's not a huge movement. And we have some bad experiences too. There are some nice experiences, like in Burgos, which is a very, very cold city in the north, where we did a kindergarten for 102 children. So we just finished it. So this was a really nice project. But there are still lots of single family houses, well, in the south. It's not a generalized movement. PEP, I think, is growing since I'm one of the first members of PEP. And I think every year we have more members. But the conference this year was quite small, I think, due to COVID, and it was in the south, it was in Murcia. So it was a pity that I think it was only 100 attendees. Normally we had 200 or 300. attendees. So this year, but I think it was due to COVID and due to the location, which is in the south. And in the south, it's not, well, it's necessary too, but people don't really think of summer and passive houses. So it's much more common in the north.
Great.
And I don't know if I answered all your questions, Mary. I just had a look. I think we met 9 years ago at 2012 in Hanover.
Great. Well, thank you. I just was curious how it was moving there in Spain, how the movement was going. So yeah, gave me a sense. Thanks.
And I think we do passive house training. We train designer and tradesperson. And I think we trained already about 3,000 people in Spain. So I think this is a good data too, because it's not possible only to train designer, because the most important, well, you have to train designer, obviously. I think the team of Clara and Ángel, they are all designers, or they will be designers soon, the new ones. But you need a lot of tradesperson people just to build it, no? So Grupo Lobe, they did the tradesperson courses too for the people who really work on the construction side, and I think it's something very, very necessary, and it's something growing in Spain too. The courses for tradesperson and for designer.
Excellent.
Great.
Well, I think we might have to find out more about that daycare in the north. It sounds like a good opportunity for another presentation on the showcase. So maybe Mary, we can dig into that with Anne and learn about that. That's exciting. So congrats to all those different pasos being built across Spain. So thanks, Anne, for all you do. And I think, Zach, we could wrap it up. Hopefully we'll see some of you back tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, and I forgot what the time was across the pond. So
2 p.m. GMT.
All right, everyone.
All right.
Thanks so
Clara.
much.
Thanks, Ángel.
Thanks.